some of my fondest memories of my grandmother, Marjorie Young, when we were on Trousdale Lane, is climbing up in that tree in the front of the yard, and the times we got to go out and draw water out of the well. When she moved over on East End Street, it gave great memories of going into her refrigerator and eating the cold chicken and drinking the red Kool-Aid.
My mother was Primitive Baptist. I didn't know why, but she was Primitive Baptist, and she would return to Columbia for the first Sunday in May. That was a big meeting where they washed feet for the first time for that year.
In White Springs? Was it White Springs?
White Springs Primitive Baptist Church. She was a member. I used to return to Columbia during the summer. And because school at Rocky Glade would start before Metro or Nashville, I would attend school with my cousin Ruby and all the kids that lived up there by you all. And I came to Nashville and attended school and graduated from school here in Nashville. And so did my brother. And but you know what? I often wonder, if my mama and daddy had not left Columbia, what would have happened to my brother and I? We're both college graduates. I taught school in Metro for 26 years. I wonder would I have done as well if I had stayed there in the country. I often wonder about that.
English teacher, when a lot of girls go down to the toilet with boys, at their toilet, she didn't let no girls go outside, didn't let no boys go outside, the girls down there. And she was rough with it. She taught 8 classes. The older kids taught the younger ones, and they went through 8 years. Been 8 years down there. She taught more, I learned more down there up on the hood I did the time I went to high school.
I was born when Granny died, and that was in November. And Pappy met me, because he lived until July of 35, after Granny died. And Mama said that he said, this is Grandma, Mother Lena's granddaughter. And she told me, yes, this is Mother Lena's granddaughter. Because Grandma and Pappy was in the Primitive Baptist Church at Emo Hill. And he thought a lot of my grandmother. Irrigation, you knew we lived in the country and we had to ride the inferior school bus. So when I first started school, we used a cab because Mama said that there was no way she was going to let me go to Columbia and go wild. Usually when girls left out in the country, they went to Nashville, to Columbia. They went wild. They just didn't have self-control, and she made us stay at home. They went to the courthouse and talked to the people there, and they paid for the cab that brought the teacher out to the one teacher school to carry us back. We got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, milked the cows, came back, got ready for school, walked a mile and a half to catch the inferior cab. After that, we got a school bus that carried us all the way from down here at the lane, at the end of the lane, all the way through Cullioca, back into school. So which means we got on the bus in the dawn and we got off at dusk. And then we had to milk the cows once we got home. And at that time, we didn't have electric lights, we didn't have outdoor plumbing, but you had a will to learn. It was something about back then that we don't have now. You had a will to be somebody. And you had to work for it, and you knew you had to work for it. And my mama used to say all the time, don't sit around and wait on no dead man's shoes. Get up and get your own shoes.
I was a sophomore. Here I go to my junior year at Tennessee State University. I was staying on Hanker Hall. And I went to a class, and this class was a religious class, and Dr. Simmons was the instructor. We got there, we had heard about this city as downtown. at Woodworth, McCullens, the Irish Room at King Sloan's, and Cresses, and several other stores down there. So when we went to class, I had no intentions because I felt like my mom would be very upset if I tried to go to this sit in with them. So I had made my mind I wasn't going to go. I didn't want to get in any trouble. But when we got there, Dr. Simmons, who I respected very highly because he was also a minister, he told us that if we believed in something, we should try to do something about it. And he felt like this was something that was way over time that should have been taken care of. And it take the young people to do it. So he says, I haven't told you all to go downtown. He says, you all go down there, I haven't even seen you. So everybody in class got up and started walking out. And I want to be the last one sitting in there, so I decided I would follow. I had on my Russian boots, which was leaking, snow on the ground, cold. We walked from TSU, from the education building, all the way down to Capitol Hill. And we went in the church, and they fixed us up and told us what, and went through our purses and everything and made sure. And I had a fingernail file in there. My Aunt Chloe had given me that fingernail file for graduation. And they took my manicure set from me out of my purse because we couldn't have anything in there, not even a pencil with a sharp lead, because they could say that it was a weapon. So they took that away from us, and I never did get it back. But anyway, this is what they put us out. They told us what we could do and what we could say and what we couldn't say. So quite naturally, we could not strike back. We just had to take the blows if we had blows came after us. So we went down, and I was with the group, the first one who would go and sit at Woodworth. I was sitting at the counter. Was it Woodworth? My color one. I was sitting at the counter, and I had on a coat that belonged to my oldest sister. That it was a beige coat, a light beige coat. It was cold. And this Caucasian guy walked past me, and we were sitting at the counter. We couldn't turn around, couldn't look back. And he put out his cigarette on my back. And to the day that coat was discorded, that brown looking spot was there where he put it. Even from dry cleaning, that spot was still there from where he put that cigarette in. It didn't burn me, but he put that cigarette out on my back. They told us that's when we had to move. When I say they, the leader of our group told us it's time to leave. We got up and we walked out on the street. Got out on the street, it was about 5 or 6 white guys out there, young guys, and they had logs that was cut from a tree that looked like a club, but it was larger than a ordinary police club or something like that. It's about like a small stick of wood that you use in your stove fire. And that's what they were swinging at us. We could not do the only thing we could do is lean back, go to the side or something. We could not try to fight back. But the guys, the black guys, is the one who protected us. They would take a blow before they let the females take a blow. Well, it was so much going on, the policemen came there. And when the policemen got there, they put so many in the paddy wagon that it wasn't enough for me to get in there. So from there, we went on down to Trailway bus station, a Greyhound bus station. And when we got down there, well, my brother was down there. My brother under me, Ford. And when I got down there, they were getting ready to put all of us in the paddy wagon again. And I just knew they were going to put me in there. But when I saw my brother going in there, I told my brother that, hey, listen, both of us can't be in jail. Because one of us was going to have to stay there to call Mama to tell Mama what was going on. So they let me get back. I stood back. So I had to walk all the way back to Tennessee State campus. I just waited till I got a chance to get the phone. So when I got the phone, I called collect. Well, quite naturally, ordinarily my mom wouldn't answer because she thought that I wanted to come home or something. But anyway, she answered that particular evening. And I told her that we was all right. She said, what is this I see on TV? I saw them getting it. I said, listen, my brother's all right. Fulton's all right. They feeding them, they buying food, they're protecting them, they got lawyers for them. You are not going to be out of any money or anything. And I promise you, are you sure? I'm positive. I was there, but I made sure I stepped back to keep me put in jail where I could call you and let you know not to worry about anything. We are all right. We're being taken care of by Alexander Luby and Avon Williams with the lawyers. And we was okay. Well, they kept them in there all night long, but they fed them the business in Nashville and a whole lot of rich white people, I'm going to say. It's the one who financed and was taking care of the black students down there in jail, believe it or not. They were sending food down there where they wouldn't have to eat the food from the hospital, from the jail. They would send drinks, cold drinks, water, and everything else where they didn't have to drink anything or do anything. They prepared for them. They even sent blankets down there where they wouldn't be sleeping in a cold cell. But the next day, Avon Williams and Z. Alexander Luby posted bond for all the students to get out. And they came back on campus. But that didn't stop us. That very next day, when they was unexpected, we were right back down there again. So we made those eat restaurants and little places that sell sandwiches and all that downtown. We made them lose a lot of money during that time because
well, okay, I'm going to talk about the milk route. Well, the milk route. Back in the 70s, when I was hauling the milk, there was all types of, there was Kraft milk plant and Border milk plant. And it all came down to just Kraft up on Glade Street. No, was that Glade? No, it was Woodland. I'm on Woodland with it, across from the old Chevrolet dealership. And I hauled the milk until they went to closing all the milk plants and stuff down around in this area. And then I had to start hauling the milk to Gallatin, Tennessee. And then from Gallatin, we stopped hauling it there down to Ardmore, Alabama. And I was hauling mostly the Amish and the Mennonite milk from out of Lawrenceburg. And I had some of the surrounding counties that I was hauling milk in, like Giles and Lawrence, and first one place another. But you had to run like during there 100 miles or better to get a load of milk. And I think it was around 78 is when I entered my area of the milk hauling, and that's that.
I milk cows as soon as I can milk them, and I milk all the way through high school and afterwards. I've set out tobacco, I've hung tobacco, I even cut some tobacco. Because my oldest brother went in service, and somebody had to do the job. And I've stripped tobacco, and I don't like country life. It's hard work.
The other day when I was complaining about the heat, I thought about my grandmother, Ma Francis, being in the kitchen making jams and jelly with sweat dripping off her, and not once did she think about an air conditioner or a fan. Of course, those were the best jams and jellies, I think, because one of those individual sweat drops just falling into those jars.
My fondest memory is when she used to babysit me. She and Uncle Billy, they were my babysitters. And we would watch all my children every day. Like clockwork, we had to watch all my children, and then on special days we get to eat butter pecan ice cream.
One of my fondest memories was when my grandmother, Alice Francis Patrick, used to babysit Giovanna. One day they were sitting there eating some, what was it, Crunch and Munch. And I reached in and I ate some of the Crunch and Munch, and they were stale. My grandmother said, "Don't worry about it. Me and the baby never knew they were stale."
Let's play dodgeball. Yeah, dodgeball is my favorite. Oh, that was horrible.
Hey.